One of the most common questions I get asked is it better to pay off debt or invest? Let's say you have an extra $200 every month. Should you use it to pay off your mortgage faster or put it towards your other debt or invest it in the stock market? If you've searched this online, you've probably seen people arguing both sides. Some people say you should always invest because the stock market averages around a 10% return. Others say you should always become debt-free first because paying off debt is guaranteed. So who's right? The truth is, neither answer is always correct. The right decision depends on your interest rate, your expected investment returns, and your own risk tolerance. Today, I'm going to walk you through how I think about this decision. We'll compare the cost of borrowing to potential investment returns, discuss the pros and cons of each strategy, and then go over the math that lets you compare both options. So let's jump right into it. Understanding the cost of debt. Before we talk about investing, we first need to understand the cost of borrowing. Not all debt is created equal. A credit card charging 22% interest is very different from a personal loan at 12%, which is also very different from a mortgage at 5%. Let's assume that each loan has the exact same balance of $20,000. A credit card with an annual interest rate of 22% will cost you $4,400 of interest expense. A personal loan of 12% annual interest will cost you $2,400 of annual interest, and a mortgage of 5% will cost you $1,000 per year in interest expense. Even though the balance is exactly the same, the cost of carrying each loan is dramatically different. That's why blanket advice like always invest or always pay off debt doesn't really make sense. The interest rate changes the entire decision. The next step is to compare these borrowing costs against what your money could potentially earn if you invested it instead. Understanding investment returns. Historically, the S&P 500 has averaged roughly 10% per year before inflation and taxes over the long term. Of course, those returns aren't guaranteed, and some years are much better or much worse than others. To keep today's examples conservative, I'm going to assume a long-term annual return of 7%. The real advantage of investing isn't just the annual return, it's compound growth. Here's a simple example. Let's say you invest $1,000 and earn an average return of 7% per year. After year one, your investment grows from $1,000 to $1,070. After year two, you don't earn 7% on the original $1,000. You earn 7% on the full $1,070. So your investment grows to $1,145. After year three, you earn 7% on $1,145, bringing your balance to approximately $1,225. Notice what's happening. Every year, your investment balance gets a little larger, and your return is calculated on the larger balance. In other words, your money earns returns, and then those returns start earning returns too. That's the power of compounding. Now, let's see what happens when you invest $200 every month instead. Over the course of 10 years, you would have invested $24,000, earning you $10,617 for a total of $34,617. Over 20 years, you would have contributed $48,000, which results in investment returns of $56,185, bringing the total to $104,185. And then over the course of 30 years, you would have contributed $72,000, but your investment returns would be $171,994, bringing the total to $243,994. Notice how the growth accelerates over time. After 30 years, you've only contributed $72,000 of your own money, but thanks to compound growth, your investment has grown to nearly $244,000. So now we have two competing forces. Debt costs you money, and investing has the potential to make you money through compound growth. The question is, which one will create more wealth for you? Paying off debt versus investing considerations. Mathematically, paying off debt is surprisingly similar to earning an investment return. If your mortgage charges 5% interest, every extra dollar you use to pay it down effectively guarantees you a 5% return because you're avoiding future interest. Investing works differently. While the stock market has historically produced higher long-term returns than many types of debt, those returns are never guaranteed. Some years you'll earn well above the average, while other years you could lose money. In return for taking on that risk, you have the potential to benefit from compound growth, where your returns can continue generating additional returns over time. However, the decision isn't just about which option has a higher expected return. There are also important personal and lifestyle factors to consider as well. For many people, paying off debt provides greater peace of mind and financial security. Owning more of your home outright or paying off that other loan can reduce financial stress and give you the confidence knowing that your monthly obligations are lower. On the other hand, investing generally provides greater flexibility because your investments can often be sold if you need access to the money. However, successful investing also requires discipline. Many investors make emotional decisions during market downturns, chase higher risk investments, or abandon their long-term strategy altogether, ultimately reducing the returns they could have achieved by simply staying invested. Ultimately, the right decision depends not only on the math, but also on your financial situation, risk tolerance, and which option will help you stay committed to your long-term financial plan. So the question is, at what interest rate should I stop investing and focus on paying off debt instead? Fidelity has actually studied this question and came up with what they call the rule of 6%. According to Fidelity, if the interest rate on your debt is 6% or greater, you should generally pay down debt before investing additional dollars towards retirement. They also note that if the interest rate on your debt is less than 6%, it likely makes more sense to invest those extra dollars instead. It's important to understand that this isn't a universal rule for everyone. Fidelity's recommendation assumes a couple things like you've already built an emergency fund, that you don't have a credit card debt, and a bunch of other things which I'll list on the screen here. With those assumptions in mind, here's a framework I personally use. If your debt has an interest rate below 6%, I generally lean towards investing. The reason is that lower borrowing costs increase the likelihood that long-term investment returns will outperform the interest you're paying on your debt. As Fidelity explains, at lower interest rates, there's a greater chance your long-term investing returns will beat the bang for your buck you'd get by paying off your debt faster. If your debt has an interest rate of 6% or higher, I generally prioritize paying it off before investing additional money. The reason is simple. Paying off debt gives you a guaranteed risk-free return equal to your interest rate, whereas investment returns are uncertain. Fidelity's research concluded that under their assumptions, this is the point where paying down debt generally becomes a better financial decision. Of course, this is still a guideline, not a hard rule. Your decision should also consider your tax situation, investment timeline, risk tolerance, and personal goals. So with that being said, the best way to compare these two strategies is to see the numbers for yourself. Let's walk through a case study and see how investing compares to paying off your debt. Welcome to the tutorial portion of the video. I'm just going to go over some housekeeping here before we jump into the calculations, because I do get a lot of requests to edit the template. In order to make it your own, all you have to do is go to File, Make a Copy, or File, Download Excel document for a desktop version. And you can even see here what the directions are. So make sure to just go over through the instructions before you get started. With that out of the way, let's jump into the calculations. This is the pay off debt or invest template, and we have three different situations to consider. The first is the mortgage, so considering whether to pay off your mortgage. I also have a section here for other debt, and so this can be anything like your personal loan of credit, your credit card, your student loans, your auto loans, whatever that may be. The third section here is investing, and the last section here is extra cash, which is the savings that you would like to allocate to the different financial commitments. And I've also come up with 9 different scenarios, which I will be going into a little bit more detail later in the video. But before we get started, I want to go over the assumptions, because that's going to be very important in what the outcome is going to be. You can see that there are 2 different cells. The first is the ones in green, which is for you to update and customize according to your own numbers. And then there are cells in gray, which is automatic, which means there is some sort of formula or it's linked somewhere so that once you fill in the green cells, it will automatically be updated. So just going over the assumptions here, let's say that you have a mortgage where you owe $400,000 and the annual interest rate is 5%, which is the number of years it's going to take for you to completely pay off the mortgage. And this is usually a number given to you by your lender or the bank. But let's say in this case, it's going to take 20 20 years for you to pay off your mortgage. Based on those assumptions, it's going to automatically calculate what your monthly fixed payment is going to be, and it's also going to calculate what the total interest is going to be over the term of the mortgage. And if you want to know where this is coming from, you could see that details in the tab base case mortgage. And so when you go to that tab, you can see that the total principal that you're going to pay off is $400,000. The total interest that you're going to pay is $233,000, which we saw in the summary tab. And the total payments that you'll be making over the term of the mortgage is going to be $633,559. For other debt, let's say that this is a personal loan of credit and you currently owe $20,000 and the interest rate is going to be higher at 10% and you're required to make a monthly payment. This can be the minimum payment or the amount that you want to put towards this debt every single month. And that, let's say in our case, is going to be $425. Based on those assumptions, it's going to take you 5 years to pay off that personal line of credit, and you're going to end up paying $5,495 in interest. And if you want to take another look at this, you could also go to base case debt, and you could see that you'll be paying off the $20,000 with total interest paid of $5,495, and then the total payments is going to be $25,495. Now, we want to compare paying off those two different types of debt to what it's going to be like if you were to invest instead. So when it comes to investing, a very important assumption is going to be your after-tax and after-inflation investment returns. For the purposes of this calculation, we'll be using 7%, and the period is going to be 20 years of investing. And the reason why this is in gray, which is automatic, is because I want to make sure to use the same amortization period as a mortgage so that we're comparing apples to apples when it comes to your investment returns. And the last section here is going to be the extra cash section. So for lump sum payment here, it could be a surprise extra cash that you came across during the year, whether it's a refund from your tax return or a bonus from work. And let's say that you're contemplating what to do with that extra lump sum amount that you came across during the year and how to best allocate it. Another situation that you may be in is that you are able to save some extra amounts every single month that you could also allocate to your different financial commitments. And let's say every month you're able to save an extra $200 and you're wondering what to do with it and whether to pay off your debt or to invest. Now, if none of these sections apply to you, let's say you don't have an extra debt or you don't have a lump sum payment, you could just simply put 0 and the template will update without it. For our example today, let's put in $10,000. Now let's go over the 9 different scenarios. So there's going to be 3 scenarios for each section. The first scenario is going to be if you were to allocate the lump sum payment. The second scenario is if you were to allocate the extra monthly payment. And the third scenario is if you allocate both the lump sum payment and the extra monthly. And I've applied those 3 scenarios to other debt and investing as well. You can see that for the columns, there's a lot going on, but if I were just to simplify it, the ranking tells you which scenario is the best option overall. Basically, which option is going to increase your net worth the most. In our case here, scenario 6 is number 1. And net benefit is basically adding up interest saved. This is if you were to allocate the extra cash towards the debt. And investment gain here, I have a description, which is basically investment earnings generated by investing the former debt payment plus extra monthly payment, if applicable, from the early payoff date until the end of the original loan term. So that basically means that we take 20 years in total. If it takes you a little bit earlier to pay it off because you're able to make that extra payment, then the extra cash from paying it off early will all be allocated to investing. So in this case, if you saved 0.84 years, then it means that you invest for 0.84 years, and that's going to be your monthly mortgage amount that's going to be invested for 0.84 years. When it comes to the extra monthly amount, it's going to be the benefit of the mortgage amount plus the extra monthly amount. And that's going to be similar to the lump sum and extra monthly, where you add up the monthly payment plus the $200. In this case, the difference between the two is that because you made the lump sum payment at the beginning, it saves you a bit more time. And so you're able to invest a little bit earlier. And I also have some additional details here in terms of years to pay off and years saved. So you can see if you add it up, it'll be the 20 years, which is going to be the total amortization period. When it comes to the other debt, is comparing it to what you would originally have paid it off, which is 5 years. So you pay it off in 2.19 years, which means you save 2.8 years. And the investment gain is calculated by taking 20 years less the years it's going to take to pay it off. So it means that after paying off this debt, the rest of the 20-year period is going to be spent using the extra monthly payment towards investing. When it comes to the investing scenario, it just means you take the lump sum payment or the extra monthly payment and you just start investing those amounts straight away without making changes to your mortgage or other debt. So that's a lot of details. And if you want to take a look at any of the details, you can see where they are linked. You can see that scenario 1, you could simply go to the tab here. You can see how much interest it's accruing, what each payment allocates between interest and principal, etc. And I've done this for every single scenario. You could also see details related to the investment gain by looking at the applicable tab. So you can see here that the extra monthly payment is related to the mortgage that you don't need to pay anymore. And if you were to invest that during the remaining length of time, how much interest you're able to earn. So should you pay off debt or invest? There isn't one answer that works for everyone. High interest debt is usually worth paying off as quickly as possible, while low interest debt often makes investing the better long-term decision. And if you're somewhere in the middle, it's worth running the numbers while also considering your risk tolerance, financial goals, and even your peace of mind. At the end of the day, the best decision is one that fits both your finances and your personal circumstances. Let me know in the comments below, which would you choose? Paying off debt or investing, and what's your reasoning? And if you want access to the template that I used in the video today, make sure to check out the link in the description box down below. Thanks so much for watching today, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!